In this package are the world's most expensive coloured pencils. These are the Caran D'Ache luminance pencils. I bought them from an art shop called Cowling & Cox, where you can get really great discount codes and vouchers for your art supplies. You can use the discount code Amazon10 on your first purchase to get 10% off your order. I decided to buy the 72 pack because there's a wider range of mid-tones which I need for my portraits. Now, there are a few reasons why they are so expensive. This set is at around £240, £230. Obviously, the brand has quite a lot of recognition, but the main reason for the price is their high light fastness. They have a 100% light fastness. Now, this just means that it takes a very long time for the colours to fade with artificial or natural light from the surroundings. Let's open them. Okay, they've given us a little guide over here. So right off the bat, everything looks very sleek, very nice. It's just maybe swatches of the colours. Yeah, we've got the swatches, all the sets. Yeah, just some random jibber jabber really. Mixing stuff, yeah. You've got these little tabs on either side to lift the pencils up. You can move them. We've got the second set over here. I can already see that these are quite mid-tony. We've got a lot of browns, beiges, greens, greys, which is great to see. Same with this one as well. We've actually got two blenders, which I'm very excited to use. I'm not really sure how to use them. I'm not sure whether you have to sharpen it or anything, but it looks great. Right, we've got quite a lot of greys here as well, but then bright and neon-y. So they've ordered them in green, blue, you know, rainbow order. Got quite a few white. We've got two whites over here, and when I hold the pencil in my hand, I can feel that it's quite thick, which is always a good sign because that means that the lead is protected. It's good to see that we've got multiple whites though, because those are the pencils that we use the most. So this is the blank white 001. You've got two of these. Oh, actually, this one is titanium. This one's slightly whiter, I think. I do like that they become sharpened, which is good to see. I do know that you have to buy a specific sharpener, or you could sharpen them yourself with a cutting knife, just so you don't break the lead with a regular one. So I'm going to run a series of tests. I'm going to test how luminant they are, the luminance pencils. I'm also going to see how well they blend together, and I want to test out the the blending stump. That would be really interesting to use. I've got two of them. I don't know why I need two, but hey, I've got them. I think there are, how many are there? I've got 26 per row, and you've got 3 rows. These ones look very vibrant. We've got some blues, greens, yellows. Okay, I can see that these ones are a lot more mid-tony, earthy. You've got some browns, you've got some yellows, some greys. Okay, so the first test is vibrancy. I'm going to start off by sort of just getting the colour down and then layering on top. Okay, I'm going to get the 3 primary colours down first. So let's start with blue. Okay, so this is the cobalt blue. I'm gonna have a look at that, and then let's get the red out maybe. This one is scarlet. This one is, I don't know how to pronounce that, golden bismuth yellow. And then we're gonna need a green as well. This one looks good, yeah. Grass green. So these 4 colours are probably the most vibrant of the set. I'm going to have a look at them, compare them with the current set that I have. I have the Faber-Castell Polychromos. I'm going to see whether these beat them. Okay, so I've picked out some similar colours. Obviously, they're not going to be an exact replica. I don't have the numbers in the set. Now, the main difference between these 2 colour pencil sets are that the Polychromos are oil-based and the Caran D'Aches are wax-based. So the wax means that you can just layer more colours on top of each other than the Polychromos, and it's meant to be more vibrant and more lighter. I'm going to make a nice little neat square over here. Okay, one that is just shaded in, no layering. matter. So the first one is just going to be quick. Okay, there, that's how it looks like. Let's try with the polychromos. Okay, side by side, obviously they are different shades, but I can already see that there is more depth to this one than the other. Now we can try and make a bit more layering, perhaps pressing harder. I'm going to do 5 layers for each, so this is basically layer 3 then. Maybe layer 4. Even on my 5th layer, you can see that the paper is starting to peel away, just because they are oil-based. Alright, there is quite a big difference between the two, but let's see whether the Caran D'Ache beats it. Right. First layer down. Second layer. Okay, I definitely think that the Caran D'Ache was a lot easier to get to this stage. Obviously, I think if I would layer it a bit more with another colour on top, it would reach a more vibrant state. But you don't really need to press a lot, you don't need to do that many layers to reach this. Alright, onto the red. I have a feeling that the red will be really good. So, oh, yeah, it is really pigmented. That is very, very vibrant. Alright, that's just one layer. Now for the polychromos. Yeah, no, this one is definitely the winner. You can kind of make out the lines better with this one, mainly because this one is a softer pencil, but you don't get the same vibrancy. Right, let's try the layering one now. Layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, okay, and layer 5. Let's try the same for the polychromo. Alright. You can still make out the lines and some areas that are not quite shaded in on this one. So I definitely do see a big difference between the two. Right. Let's see the blue. I don't think I chose a very... just change it. I think this is more similar. I'm not sure though. Obviously the colours are going to be different. There's no way of sort of matching them completely. We'll have to make do with what we've got. Polychromos do offer a wider range of sets. I think their maximum is, the largest one they have is 250, whereas the Caran D'Ache's, their largest set is the 102. Okay, and for the other side, yeah, so that is a plus in that point of view. Of course, you'll get a bigger range, but you know, quantity over quality or quality over quantity. Okay, let's do the Caran D'Ache side first. It is a lot easier to sort of get the pigment down. You don't need to press that much. In fact, if you press too much, the lead will molt away, which is not a problem, but yeah, it's something you don't have with polychromos. It feels so different actually. It's very... my hand is kind of starting to hurt from having to press so much on the polychromos. Okay, this one is quite pigmented, but I do still think this one may be slightly more pigmented. Obviously, I don't think it's quite so fair because I am pressing harder for these ones. But yeah, they are still slightly less. Yellow's going to be quite hard to see. Oh yeah, that is actually quite good. Impressive. Okay, these ones. I can tell this is a completely different shade of yellow, but it's okay. Overall, I do think that the Caran D'Ache wins the vibrancy test, although the polychroma has done pretty well. I think the main difference is the shading swatches. The Caran D'Ache just sort of has a much more pigmented and easier flowing colour, whereas the polychroma, as you can still see those hatching lines, it is a lot less fluid. Yeah, overall both very vibrant pencils, but Caran D'Ache is just a wee bit better. Okay, now for the blending test. I'm going to choose these colours in these sets, and just because they are quite different from each other, obviously. I'm going to start off with blending yellow to green. So I have green side, yellow side. Right, I'm going to start with over for a second. I see that the mid zone is almost an entirely different colour, which is nice to see. Oh, we can use the blending stand actually. Yeah, something like that. You can actually use over here to fill in the gaps. That's nice. Yeah, okay. Try out for the other side. This a lot harder to lay. I like to go with dark colours because they're white space and they are used to me. This is a problem that's been overcome with Caran D'Aches, and it's very useful for pet portraits, for example, when you're drawing white fur or white whiskers on top of darker fur, for example, black or brown. It's also great for highlights. You don't need to erase the black of the eye. The polychroma still did pretty well, but I do see a lot more streakiness. It's pretty vibrant. See what the blending is. Good. Could use the blending stuff. Whether I'm even using it right, but yeah, it seems to be working. Different sound when you against the paper. I don't know. It's louder. I also see that there's less residue. I don't know. It might just be on this side. Yeah, it's pretty good. Everything's a bit easy to go down. I'll just do layers with this all. But I think the colours are a bit too different for the mid-tone to be as satisfying as the first one. But overall, Caran D'Ache win this round. I decided to test the pencils on a drawing of a beetle, just because there are lots of different colours and variations in the tones. And I wanted to see how well I could portray the highlights and how well I can layer light on top of dark. They started off pretty strong with the horns, and I was able to layer even pure white on top of colours as dark as navy, which is pretty impressive. I started going in with some more vibrant yellow colours after I'd finished with the horns. I was inspired by Kelly Stanford's work for this drawing. She's an amazing artist, so you should definitely check out her website. It's just kellystanford.com. And she creates hyper-realistic portraits of macro photography of bees and other insects. And I just really like them because they're super detailed. Yeah. I think this was a really good test to see how the pencils would react with the darker paper underneath, because obviously it's one thing to draw on top of a white paper and another is to draw on top of black. And I think they did a pretty good job. From this point of view, the lightest areas were not darker than they would be on a lighter piece of paper, and it was generally quite easy to layer the lightest colours on darker ones over here. Especially using yellow directly on top of black, and it did not take attempts to get to the final result. I think it was probably around 2 or 3 layers before I was finished with the yellow. I was also really happy with the vibrancy of the yellows and the more warmer tones. I think that they really stood out against the black, which I was worried that they might be a little bit translucent, as you find that with some colour pencil brands, that the yellows and greens are sometimes a bit transparent when you lay them on darker surfaces, but this was not the case at all. I actually really enjoyed working with them as well because of just how easily they blend, they sort of glide across the page,
because they are wax based. The wax really clings to the paper very easily, and you find that you don't need to press that much. So essentially this means that you can basically draw for hours on end without your hand getting tired or anything, which I did find was a bit of a problem with the polychromos or other pencil brands, because they are oil based and you would need to press more to get the same result as with the Caran D'Aches. I'm also really happy with the range of different cooler tones in this set, the 72 set. To be honest, I was not expecting this much variety, especially in the purple tones, because usually I find that colour is kind of forgotten, especially in the medium to medium small sets. I was happily surprised with this one, as there was quite a lot of selection and quite a lot of choice, and they weren't really basic tones either. They were quite, unique, and there were more mid-tones than I was expecting to be. On the bottom part of the beetle, I was layering a lighter sort of yellow-orange on top of a darker purple, and it worked really well. I really did not need to do that many layers to achieve a lighter effect. And I think this is very, very useful for creating highlights, and even in pet portraits, this is very good to create, for example, white whiskers against black fur, or highlights in the eyes or other areas like the nose, because you just don't need to leave the gap in, or you don't need to erase anything to create the same effect. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope this review was useful to you, and maybe you can go out and have a look at the polychromos, have a look at the Caran D'Aches, and sort of make your decision about what colour pencils suit you best. So please feel free to leave anything in the comments if you have any questions, or if you'd like the discount code. Bye!